Hi, welcome back. And now we're going to take a look at line source or inline emitters, where instead of a point source where you're actually connecting a transfer barb and spaghetti or distribution tubing onto the point source and running that out to the plant. Now we're working with a product where the emitter is actually manufactured into the interior of the half-inch tubing. And in the last lesson, I mentioned that point source is for watering plants and line source is for watering areas. So line source, and we'll talk about this more in the design phase on down through the course, but you're going to be laying this out in a grid within the square footage of your planting bed. So let's take a look at how these work and just kind of get a feel for that. These are line source emitters. This one is manufactured by Rainbird, and you can see it's got an emitter already plugged into it. It's just built into it. It will come on 12-inch spacing, 18-inch spacing, 24-inch spacing along the length of the tubing. Now how these work is, turn this over, you can see we've got a very long run or a long flow of water. The water enters this little grill right here, and through a series of turbulence and channels, it works its way down and exits at this point. These are actually very good with not getting clogged up, but and I've used them for many years. They've worked very, very well. So this is one variety of inline tubing. The next one is one that's called Netafim, which is one of the first inline tubings. And in this case, I've just taken this and split this. They have, hold it the right way, this one has an emitter on this side and 180 degrees away, so it's got one on each side. And when I butterfly this open, here's where the water enters. And in this, it's going to be traveling circularly around the interior of the tubing through these little channels, because the water's entered here and this is sealed over. So it's a long path emitter, and as it swirls around, that is where the pressure compensation comes in, and then it emits from these two little emitters at this point here. So when you're working with inline, you're laying this out on a grid. And if I'm using 12-inch spacing on the emitters that are built into the half-inch tubing, then chances are I'm going to have my lines 12 inches apart. So 12-inch spacing, 12 inches apart, and you're watering the area. So now the roots will have plenty of water to go out into the landscape. Now on brand new plantings, you may still find yourself having to use a combination and putting some point source over to plants that are a little bit isolated from the tubing. Depending on this 12-inch by 12-inch or 18 by 18, even 24-inch spacing by 24-inch spacing will depend on the plants, the plant material, your soil texture, all of these different factors that come into it. And the plants and the soil texture are always going to drive your irrigation selection. And we'll be talking about that more as we go along through the course. But I just wanted to give kind of a quick overview of point source, what we did in the last lesson, and now line source. And when you open them up, what do they look like and how do they operate? So I hope this was of interest, and we're going to take a look at some filtration and picking the right filter for your individual situation in our next lesson. And thanks for watching. I'll see you then.